All right, we'll call this September 12th regular city council meeting for the city of Palmer to order. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Anzalati.
Here.
Councilmember Ojala.
Here.
Councilmember Best.
Here.
Councilmember Tudor. Mayor Carrington.
Here.
Deputy Mayor Moline. Councilmember Alcantara.
And so from the absences, Councilman Tudor mentioned to us that he was going to be on vacation back east and asked to be excused. I think some of you may have heard Councilman Alcantara's brother passed away this last week. And so I said, hey, and I think today is probably the service down in Kenai or something. And then Deputy Mayor texted and had a small family emergency, so we have a quorum, just barely. If there's no objection, we'll give them all excused absences. And next, if everyone would stand with me, and maybe I'll ask Josephine Herbert if she could lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance. To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all. Next, we have approval of the agenda, which includes the minutes from August 22nd, 2023. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Are there any amendments or adjustments? Okay, well, if there's no objection, we'll consider those approved.
Did you want to remove that?
We'll wait till we get there.
Pam?
We'll wait till we get there. Okay, next is communications and appearance. Gary Wolf, please come forward. I don't know if we got the microphone on yet. And I believe we have Angie Bros on the Zoom. And you brought a PDF or something. Okay. I hear it. You might have to get it close, though.
It's only going that big.
About that close?
Or closer, yeah.
Okay.
We have to scroll.
Yeah, it's a PDF, so, yeah.
Yeah. I'll just start here.
Welcome, Gary.
All right, thank you, thank you. I'm Gary Wolf. I'm here with Laura Reed and Angie Bros, and she's on the Zoom tonight. We're here to update you on the progress we've made on the Palmer Library project. And the first step on this was to do some community outreach and also to gather some information on the existing library. And so we have, first thing we did is we went over to the existing library and we did a LiDAR scan of that library and entered that into our 3D design software. And then we also had the engineers and the estimator over there, and we did an assessment and an evaluation of the existing facility as to what systems we could keep and what systems were probably going to be not usable because they froze. A lot of the plumbing froze and probably not be useful. And so we did a little condition survey on that, and then also did a couple sets of construction drawings, one for the demolition for the damaged roof section, and then winterization enclosure so that it won't fill up with snow over the course of the winter. Along with that, we've done a series of community meetings, and starting out with Friday Fling, and then we followed that up with a week of meetings at the depot, and that included some stakeholder groups, staff, donors, department heads, Chamber of Commerce, Historical Society, Art Alliance, and then we also did some community surveys where we sent some surveys out to teen groups, homeschoolers, and also the Chickaloon and Kanik tribes to get some additional information. And so with that, I'm going to let Laura kind of go over the information that we gathered at the communities, and she'll just kind of give a high overview of that, and then we'll have Angie do a conclusion, a little deeper dive into that. So go ahead, Laura.
So the first thing that we did was we took these question boards. So if you go back a couple slides.
There you go.
So we set these up at the library. And some of the questions that we asked, what do you love about your library? What would you like to experience in your library that you cannot experience right now? Where do you feel inspired? So the idea being trying to get people to really think about what type of space they want in this new facility, not necessarily the specific program elements, but really trying to just get people's inspirational dreaming juices moving. So the next step is we took some of these same question boards and set them up at the Friday Fling, and gathered a much more broad community input. People overwhelmingly were very appreciative of being able to be involved in the process. We heard a lot of really positive feedback there and a lot of good one-on-one conversations, getting really in depth on what people want out of this public facility. The next slide we had.
Sure, Councilman
Just
Best.
for the record, you said that these were set up at the library.
At the library first, yes.
Actually at the temporary
At
library?
the, yep, at the interim library.
Okay, the interim.
Yes.
Okay, I just want to be clear for the record.
Yes.
And also at Friday Fling for the last Friday
Correct.
Fling.
Correct.
Yeah.
Yeah, and the boards were set up over the course of a month, so there's lots of opportunity for people filtering in to be able to see them and participate. So this slide shows another one of the exercises we started at the Friday Fling. So these were just provocative precedent images that we had set up on a table. And the idea being to kind of get people engaged in, non-verbally expressing an interest in a specific type or quality of space. Lots of people really appreciated the natural light in the window images. Lots of children-themed images gained a lot of interest. So these examples show the most interest, and then these images also just helped start the one-on-one conversations where we were able to gather more in-depth information. So the next slide, this has a little bit of information on the following week. We went into workshops and meetings with specific focus groups. Where we spent an hour and a half, 2 hours with a specific group going more in depth into specific questions per the group that we were speaking with. So for instance, with the library staff, we were able to really get into their workspace configurations. With the museum group, we were able to understand sort of what their interest in the project was and so forth. We did this over the course of the week and gained a massive amount of information. The following slide shows again some of these precedent images. So we use the same images here, set them up on a wall, and we're able to gather. So on the next slide, you can kind of see the most interest. Again, we're in very similar types of spaces as we saw at the Friday Fling. Again, on the next slide. So the hold lockers and the outdoor space here gained a lot of interest. And then if Angie is available, I don't know if she can speak through Zoom. I'd like to turn it over to her to talk more in depth on the specific feedback we were able to obtain.
Well, if everybody can hear me, if somebody could just confirm that the sound is on, that would be great.
Yes. You're good.
Yes, because this is a super interesting experience. You guys can hear me and see me. I cannot see a thing. So my name is Angie Bros. I'm with Clark Nixon, and my role was to facilitate these public meetings in collaboration with Laura and Gary from Wolf Architecture. I am the library consultant, and I'm the one who's going to be analyzing all this data, or I'm actually in the process of analyzing all this data that we've collected and what that means for the building program. here, and maybe if we could go to the next slide with the words on it. This slide kind of shows we sort of grouped all these, and I tried to count them, and then I just kind of made a determination that we had between 1,000 and 1,500 responses. We grouped them into what the main theme of these responses were, and the interior feel, the coziness, the meetings, the need for needing spaces, the windows and natural light, the need for a children's area were kind of the big ones. And if we could go to the next slide. I didn't, put the percentages on for all the little pieces of the pie, but the interior feel, the need for meeting spaces, and the children's area were sort of the big themes of responses that we got. And if we could go again to the next slide. Let me actually, and this digs a little bit deeper. We have these programs that just filter out all the responses in what people actually were talking about. And I don't need to read those to you. I mean, community spaces were important, the library as a hub, that it has extended hours, that maybe there is some kind of community partnership to create a coffee shop, and again, the natural light. And so we're going to take all of this information and actually inform the library program for that, and I'm in the process of doing that. Before I turn it back over to Gary, I would like to say that, coming from the lower 48, the reception of your community has absolutely been wonderful. And I appreciate the openness with which I was received. And I look forward to come back to Parma and visit the library once it opens. So Gary, I hand it back to you. I can't see you,
Okay,
so
all
this
right.
is
Thank you, Angie. I appreciate that.
yeah.
Yeah. So there's one more slide here, and we're going to go on to next steps here. And so Angie's kind of finalizing the program, which is basically she'll identify each space that was kind of identified through the week of planning and her experience as a librarian, and then we will take that and we'll fine tune that with equipment and furnishings, and we'll test each of the space, make sure that the spaces are appropriately sized for the function they're supposed to need. And then she's doing room data sheets, and those room data sheets will have like the number of outlets, and we're going to help with that, and we'll be working with the library committee on that. Data ports and furnishings and casework and all of those sorts of things, and then adjacency diagrams. What rooms, what spaces go best with other spaces. And then following that, on the 21st, which I believe is a Thursday, we're going to have another community meeting, and this was going to be at the depot, where we take this program and we'll have some tables set up with these spaces in little block form, and we'll put those on the site, and we'll work with the community to kind of talk about how the inside of the building and the outside of the building work, how the building starts to interface with the community, how it interfaces with the downtown, as well as being a gateway over to the old agricultural areas will be developed hopefully someday. So you guys are all invited to that. And I guess that there's some meeting act stuff that you guys have to figure out, which is way above my pay grade, but I understand that's important. And we'd love to see you and have your input on that. It should be a fun time, and the whole community is involved. So we're looking forward to going through that. And that'll be the first step in starting to go into actual design, where we start thinking about this building, and not only as a plan, but also in 3D. So that's the next step.
So what was the time on that meeting on the 21st?
I think we've got 3 hours or something like that.
Starting at 4?
Starting at 4,
Okay.
something like that, 2 or 3 hours. I'm not precisely sure of the exact time.
4 to 7? 4 to 6? I can count, okay. I have somebody flipping me off in the back.
And then if there's any questions, we will
Does
field.
the council have any questions for our architects? Councilman Best.
So, just for the record, I mean, we haven't got to this point yet, but I mean, is the existing structure viable?
Yeah, part of it is gone. But, yeah, so, it's, the structure is for sure viable. What the engineers were saying, and some of this is gonna take somebody who knows mechanical systems go look at those boilers, did they get ruined because they got frozen? And so, I don't know if we can use those. The electrical equipment is very old, it's 40 years old, and most of that has to be replaced. And also, the trick is it's a wood bearing wall building, and so part of what we're going to do is we're gonna figure out how those existing spaces can integrate into whatever design we come up with. And we've done a lot of renovations, and it's just a trick of how that will fit in there. And there's always some trade-offs with using an existing building, but I think it's usable. I mean, it could save some money, so we just have to, that's what the study is gonna show us.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay. Anything else, Councilman Best?
Well, I
Since
you
your
know,
mic is on?
Yeah, I mean, sure, since the button's still lit. One of the important parts that I thought was for us to also have in this is what is a library to everybody now? Mm-hmm. A library to what everybody thought of a library 40 years ago is a completely different animal.
Right.
And so within that, I want us to be very cautious when we looked at the viability of that existing structure, because it might not really fit into the mold of what a community looks for a library to be for the next 30 years. We can't continue to have the past hold us back if we're going to be moving forward and make an investment like this. If there is an opportunity, maybe it does cost us a little bit to level the whole thing. I mean, I hope that we're still going down the path of trying to holistically look at this plan, so.
We absolutely are. Obviously, leveling it gives you a lot more options, and so we're going to look at that, and we're going to look at what it would look like to save it. Probably based off of historic renovations. The most that you'll probably save is somewhere between 5 and 10% of the cost of construction on that, because it's basically just the structure. There's, it's got some foundation and stuff, but a lot of the slabs are coming out. So, but it might turn out that we come up with a great idea and it works really good and everybody's happy with it, and it might show that it's just not a good idea. So.
I think it's safe to say we'll be having more discussions in the future.
Yeah, we're excited about it. It's a very fun project. We really are enjoying working with everybody and working in the community, and so thank you very much.
All right. Well, thank you.
You're welcome.
Next, we've listed a couple items in case we have elected officials or board and commission members coming, but I don't see any in attendance, so. Speaking of renovations, yeah.
Oh, my gosh.
Next, we have a proclamation recognizing Josephine Herbert. And I'm not sure if I'm saying the name right. I should have asked before the meeting. And I've asked our alternate deputy mayor to go ahead and read the proclamation and present that. So, Josephine, you want to come forward? Yeah, you should use that microphone.
here good? Whereas Josephine Herbert overcame a challenging upbringing, finding strength and stability with a foster family in the Matsu Valley. Whereas Josephine worked diligently to catch up on her education and engage in activities that are typical for teenagers, enhancing her confidence and communication skills. Whereas Josephine compassionately serves as an advisor for girls facing struggles in family relationships or personal challenges, consistently making herself available when needed. Whereas through her dedicated actions at school, she has earned the esteemed title of Miss Alaska High School, and she serves as the drum major for the Colony High School Band, a National Honor Society member, cheerleader, student government representative, key club member, and an inductee into the National Tri-M Music Honor Society. Whereas Josephine volunteers her time for various nonprofit organizations organizing the Trend Alaska Fashion Show for Let Every Woman Know and partakes in special community celebrations. Whereas Josephine seeks to motivate others, showing that it's possible to overcome significant challenges, and she champions others to find their own voice. Whereas Josephine will continue her personal and educational growth as she enters 11th grade at Colony High School in Palmer this fall. Now, therefore, be it resolved by the Mayor and City Council of the City of Palmer, Alaska, that September 15th, 2023 is Josephine Herbert Day. As we recognize Josephine Herbert for her remarkable efforts, contributions, and achievements, and commend her as a symbol of perseverance, empathy, and community service in our midst.
Oh, you have to get in the picture, yeah. And we'll go ahead and take a 5-minute break here. And Angie, I don't know if you can still hear us. Gary took off already, so if you want to stay on, that's fine. But yeah.
I might go to bed. It's like 10:30 here, so thank you. Bye.
I believe so, yes. Okay, so we'll call the meeting back to order. Next, city managers report.
Yes, good evening. I apologize for that directness. So Thursday, I'll be attending here in Palmer a group across the valley regarding opioid task force, to getting together, that sort of thing, and trying to synergize. I think they're doing weekly meetings in different spots, and Thursdays in Palmer. Friday, from 3 to 6 over at the Eagle Hotel is a Bright Lights open house. Bright Lights is an organization that have taken good books, slightly used books, that sort of thing, and putting those into people's hands so those aren't wasted. So anyways, they have an open house. Tuesday the 19th, there is a MVP, which is the MPO, and this is the organizational meeting. Mayor Carrington is on the list and will be invited to all those going forward. On September 25th and 27th, AML is doing a symposium. This is grants, so I think myself and a few of our staff people are going. We'll have federal agencies and state agencies there, and really kind of looking for grant opportunities, because right now we're working on budgets, and your directors have a lot of stuff they want, and it's not all going to fit in the budget. So we're looking for other people to pay, which seems to be American way. Also, too, on October the 2nd, we have our new airport superintendent. It's John Dumenti. John has been on an on-call volunteer fighter for the city of Palmer for probably well over a dozen years. Quite a bit of aviation experience, military helicopter pilot. So we think he's just going to be a wonderful, wonderful fit. Also, too, we have going to have starting shortly, I think even before John, a new building inspector that also is a volunteer fireman. And rumor has it that your great chief is trying to take over, infiltrating all the city departments with his volunteer firefighters to take these jobs. So we're calling him the American Putin. So that's all I have for tonight.
Does the council have any questions for the manager? No? Okay. Next is the mayor's report. There's a written report in the packet. Also, I believe it was last week I attended the opiate task force, and they had a presentation they'd done a tour with Set Free, has got some new facilities with some transitional housing, as well as some treatment options for opiates, and which is I hadn't known about that. So there's actually some treatment options now in the valley. And also the Seroma delegation of the middle schoolers and high schoolers is in town. I attended a assembly yesterday at the Palmer Junior Middle School, and there was a potluck last night, and I think we're doing a tour here at City Hall on Thursday morning, and so they're the junior high is a very exciting place to be during the day, I must say. So anyway, is there any questions the council has for me? Okay. City clerk's report. Do we have anything coming up?
We have early voting, which begins on Monday morning, September 18th, and ends on October 2nd. It's at City Hall from 8 a.m. to 5 p.m.
Okay. Any questions for the clerk? Okay. City attorney's report.
Good evening. Just a quick summary. It's been primarily administrative work these past 2 weeks since the previous council meeting. I've been working on various projects, been doing some case strategy and drafts for the ongoing lawsuits. Been working with the Visitors Information Center on the VIC contract. They're actually proposing another round again to their board this evening as well. So I should have some more information on that within the next week or so. Also been working on regarding that MPO letter from the council Been working with Councilman Best on crafting various language options for that letter, and then we'll propose those. I'm sure he will propose those to the council when that evolves. And then been working primarily on lease projects and drafts for the airport, kind of in between pieces. There will be a new lease action memorandum drafted and ran through me on the next agenda, next 9/26. Other than that, I've been wrapping up the Title IV edits, which I'd like to appreciate the patience of HR for, because I've been slow on that. So I think that covers it. Are there any questions for me?
Any questions from the council? Okay, next we have audience participation. I'm supposed to read all this. Council meeting rules protect your right to testify and be heard even if others in the room disagree with you. The rules also ensure that those attending can express their views if they do not interfere with the rights of others to see and hear the proceedings. So you can have 3 minutes to come, and we stole the microphone. Thank you, Councilman Ojala. So anyone wishing to speak, you can have 3 minutes and come forward, sign in please, and start with your name.
Hi, my name is Heather Marone. I'm here representing Alaska Communications, the company I work for. I'm the manager of corporate communications, and I'm here to celebrate Josephine. Alaska Communications is proud to support youth throughout our state. We have a program called Summer of Heroes. It's a partnership with Boys and Girls Club of Alaska, and it recognizes youth who are doing good things in communities across Alaska. 6 teens were named heroes for the 2023 program, including Josephine. The other 2023 heroes are from Anchorage, Kotzebue, and Juneau. Thank you, Councilwoman Enzioli, for reading about Josephine's efforts to help others in the community. Her sister-in-law nominated her and brought her work to our attention. We've learned Josephine is very involved in her community. She does a lot of activities, and she's doing a lot of great things. We particularly love that she's using her experiences to empower girls to have their own voice, just like she learned herself. We are grateful to have youth in our communities committed to caring for others. We're excited to award her a $2,000 scholarship through the Alaska 529 program and help spotlight her good deeds. And we really appreciate you guys helping us spotlight her good deeds as well. We're really excited for the Josephine Herbert Day. We're grateful to the council and Mayor Carrington for your eagerness to help us shine a light on her. We can't wait to see what Josephine does next. Thank you.
Very good. Thank you. Anyone else want to participate in audience participation? It's 3 minutes of whatever you wish to speak. I see a hand in the back. Mike is coming to the mic. Thanks for coming, everyone.
Great. Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Mike Malewski is my name. I live at 325 East Fireweed Avenue here in Palmer, Alaska. I know that the clerk doesn't like to have a light shined upon her, but I'm going to shine one on her anyway, if you can think of this metaphorically speaking, because she last week did an interview, and we do an Inside the City program. Many of you have been involved with it. And I wanted to say that although she spoke to the election today, what she did in that interview was extraordinary, because I've taken the information that I learned, thought I knew something about the elections in the city, and I realized that there were always things that maybe I didn't know. So I commend the interview to you. It's up on our website, but also say that I think what she represents is an increasing amount of transparency in providing information about the election process. Not everyone knows, for example, that you can vote starting early on the 18th, or when the day comes on October 3rd, where you would go to vote. I asked a whole bunch of people, and they were not sure. They remember voting over at the borough, but they didn't know about going to the school district admin building as the other site, which was interesting because that's a change. And so I want to make sure that people understand that. Thank you, Shelley. Lastly, having done that, I talk trash because I can tell you that starting Saturday, you have an opportunity, as the mayor is indicating, and I have already arranged to borrow the truck that will be filled with stuff that I take to the landfill from this Saturday on to the end of the month. Be there, be early. The line may be long because it's free dump of anything and almost everything that you have in your yard. Thank you.
Anyone else want to speak for audience participation? See no one, we'll close this audience participation. Next, we have public hearings. Resolution number 23-021, directing city manager to authorize hardware and software upgrades to the city's technology infrastructure in the amount of $34,057. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this public hearing can come forward and have 3 minutes. Seeing nobody come. All right, we will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, moved and seconded. Do we have any questions of the manager or comments from the council? Councilman Best?
No.
Okay. But the light was on. All right, are we ready to vote then? Okay. Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Councilmember Anzalati,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Ojala,
Yes.
unanimous. Here
All
for.
right. Resolution number 23-028, authorizing the city manager to accept and appropriate funds from the Matsu Borough School District for a school resource officer at Colony High School and Colony Middle School, and to fill the patrol officer vacancy created by assigning an SRO to Colony High School. We will open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this public hearing can come forward. Okay. We will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any questions or discussion from the council? Other than this is cool? All right, Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ojala,
Yes.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Anzalati,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right. Good job, by the way, manager. Another public hearing, resolution number 23-029, accepting and appropriating $2,461,261 from the Matsu Borough State and Local Fiscal Recovery Funds as a subaward grant in support of the Bogard Road Booster Station construction. We'll open the public hearing. Anyone wishing to speak to this can please come forward. All right, we will close the public hearing. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second. Okay, moved and seconded. Is there any questions? Councilman Best.
A brief staff report.
Mr. Manager.
Yes, and thank you for highlighting. This is a pretty big deal. The Matsu Borough very much wants to seek how to provide more affordable housing through the valley. And one attempt is to get water and sewer outside so homes can be placed on much smaller lots than a minimum of 1 acre. So this is COVID money that they've received, and when they lifted some of the rules for this, this became an option for them. There's also a corresponding project over Wasilla. But this will extend the line, improve the booster station, but what's really beneficial about this, it will finally get water to both Colony High and Colony Middle schools. This covers the entire cost. It's a really good partnership. And I spent 6 hours of my life listening to 5 hours and 38 minutes on gravel. And then they brought this issue up. And then the city attorney said, they've changed the rules. You can spend this money for anything. So it was brought, we thought it had to be some type of infrastructure. And so you could see because there is, I think it's like over 5 million pinging around. What can we spend that 5 million on? And there was some discussion, and assembly said, no, this is important, let's roll with it. So this started out as a project, well, this is something good we can do, to we're all in. So this is really good. That's what I really kind of encourage and like, is when we can partner with our fellow local governments. And this is a good one, and this is entirely, paid for by the Mat-Su Borough through the COVID funds.
All right. And I'd also note, just for those that may not be aware, we have a water sewer district that goes much past our past our city limits. And so we're already starting to serve areas like the hospital, and now this would be the Colony Schools. All right, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Ojala,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Anzalati,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right. Action memorandum. Action memorandum number 23-050, authorizing the city manager to accept donations to the 2023 Palmer Police Bike with the Blue event by the Mat-Su Health Foundation in the amount of $500. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. I believe this has already happened, but we're just making sure we get the money.
That is
Manager.
absolutely correct, yes.
And that was an interesting event. Is there any other questions from the council? Okay. Madam Clerk, if you can call the roll, please.
Councilmember Anzalati,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Ojala,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right, action memorandum number 23-051, authorizing the city manager to purchase a Crown Walkie straddle stacker in the amount not to exceed $18,945 to replace Palmer's Fire and Rescue's damaged electric lift. There we go, the end was the clue. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Is there any questions or comments from the council? Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Ojala,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Anzalati,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right, action memorandum number 23-052, authorizing the city manager to purchase an SCBA decon washer in an amount not to exceed $37,553.30 to reduce use on Palmer Fire and Rescue's extractor. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve.
Second?
Moved and seconded. Any questions or comments from the council? Councilman Ojala.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. Can we just get a brief description of this equipment and what it does?
Mr. Manager.
Absolutely. He's been sitting here waiting to be able to say something tonight. So would a great chief move forward?
For those that don't know, we have a good chief sitting in the back now, and the great chief is coming forward.
We're both great chiefs.
Ah,
Yeah. So, council members, this system, what it is a sanitation system for the SCBA's and fire gear. Currently, we have it's called an extractor for the turnouts to get the carcinogens and the soot and the smoke off of that. The SCBA's we do not, in the helmets and the gloves. So this system, what I'm doing, they just came out with a single phase system in the last month and a half. I've been watching it for a year. My intent is to utilize some of the insurance money that we received from the Great Flood event of 22 that we had. And that's how I plan on purchasing that. Trying to reduce the carcinogens that they're exposed to and wash the gear. Love to have a demonstration when it's up and running.
Thank you.
any other questions? Councilman Best.
Actually, not a question, but more of a comment. Being a brat of volunteer firefighter, in Nikiski and then was a volunteer firefighter myself, the amount of smoke and everything else that those things pack in, and over the years when you get your turnouts, and I mean, I actually enjoy the smell, you know, hanging out, it's like a campfire all the time, but it's amazing how much just those things leaning up against walls, how much it'll cover the wall. So understanding that those firefighters are taking that home to their families as well, I appreciate this effort to try to knock it down as much as possible.
Appreciate that.
Okay. No other questions? Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Ojala,
Yes.
Councilmember Anzalati,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right. Next is action memorandum number 23-053, directing the city manager to notify the state of Alaska of the city council statement of non-objection of the liquor license renewal of Humdinger's Gourmet Pizza Company number 3767. What's the wishes of the council?
Move to approve?
Second?
Moved and seconded. Is there any questions? Councilman Best?
Have we had any comments returned in objection of this?
No, we have not.
All right.
Then I do have a question.
Yes, Mr. Manager, hope you're ready.
Is Humdinger's actually in existence right now?
It is not operating. I am sure, their intent is to hold on the liquor license because it does have value.
So this is just us approving it so they can still just maintain ownership of the liquor license itself. It's not really the operational side of it.
Correct.
If they go into full operation, is that something that needs to come back before us or anything else?
It certainly would through, occupancy and building permits. That will be done through, community development.
And any transfer would have to happen through the state. All right, no more questions. Madam Clerk, if you could call the roll, please.
Councilmember Anzalati,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Councilmember Ojala,
Yes.
unanimous.
All right, no unfinished business. New business is a discussion regarding residency requirement for the Palmer City Manager. Deputy Mayor asked for this. I plan to kind of postpone this because we're gonna have a discussion. It'd be nice to have the whole council or more, at least more of the council. But I wasn't sure when do we wanna postpone to. You wanna go to the next meeting? Do you wanna? Okay, does that sound good? So we need a motion.
So move.
Second?
To move to our next regular meeting. All right, Madam Clerk, if you call the roll, please.
Councilmember Best,
Yes.
Mayor Carrington,
Yes.
Councilmember Ojala,
Yes.
Councilmember Anzalati,
Yes.
okay, unanimous.
All right. There weren't any records of items placed on the table. So we have audience participation. Another chance. The audience participation is now open. Anybody wishing to come speak for 3 minutes on whatever subject that they desire. Okay. Just trying to help me set a record to get done in an hour. All right, we'll close audience participation. No executive session. Council member comments. I try to start with the quietest. It's just hard to decide. Is it gonna be council? Well, she read her proclamation, so I'll say that Councilman Ojala is the quietest tonight.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I don't have much to say. Congratulations to the achievements of the young lady that was here. And something else that probably should really be brought up is congratulations and to the foster parents.
Yes.
I mean, that's a big deal, you know? They should be very proud of that. And I'm glad that we bought this equipment for the fire department quite a bit. That's important. We take care of those guys, and when they need equipment, I'm glad that we're here to provide it for them. And that's all I got to say. Thanks.
Alternate Deputy Mayor Anzalati.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor. I also want to say congratulations to Josephine and her family. It was an honor to read her proclamation and get to meet her. And I also just want to say my prayers are with Pam and John and whatever's going on with their families right now. So thank you.
Councilman Best.
I've known the Alcantras and their extended family for many years. My heart goes out. That's I actually had just ran into his brother just the weekend before. Good man, big heart. Their entire family is that way. So all their prayers will be much appreciated. Also, it's been 18 years-ish on council. This might be my last council meeting. I want to thank everybody. It's been an honor.
All right. Yes, our thoughts and prayers goes to the Alcantar family and all those involved. And we will call ourselves adjourned at 6:52. Yeah. And we only have 4 people to vote.
Yes, it's not like, I need a sound.
Yeah.
What is that? Like,
It's my tape. Well, it's for this. This thing is a weapon. It always comes
Oh,
undone.
yeah, no,
So this
I
is
wear
my
mine. Yeah.
this is my gaffer's tape that I use for